Live with the community. This is the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Development bi-weekly call. Today is December 22nd, our last general development call of the year. Everyone is here, so excited. We've got a fantastic call in store for everyone. All right, so on our agenda, latest updates on the community. We're going to see everybody getting involved. PnP .NET libraries, PowerShell, Teams, latest on Microsoft Teams Toolkit, just an update yesterday, Microsoft Graph Toolkit, independent publisher connectors, so many initiatives. It's fantastic. Then, do we have some samples? You betcha. We got a few. Script samples, Microsoft Teams samples, Power Platform samples. And then what time will it be? Picture time, everybody's favorite time, together mode. And then we will see 4 amazing presenters today. We're going to kick it off with Markus on extending Teams apps to Microsoft 365, Outlook, and Office. And then we're going to see the 3 amigos, April, Luise, and Robin on Power Apps Component Library Material Design, something brand new, super, super exciting. So let's first talk about your opportunities to participate in the community. There are a number of them. The first thing is demoing a solution or a technical pattern, just like you're going to see done here on the call today. Tons of opportunities for you to show off the amazing, cool things that you're doing. Maybe you blogged about something and you want to share it with the community. We want you to share it. We've even made it easy on you. You can absolutely fill out a little form that provides an opportunity for us to connect with you and get you on the schedule. There doesn't need to be anything that's prolific or amazing. And if you do have something prolific and amazing, that's okay too. So there are all kinds of opportunities for you to show off the amazing things you're doing. You can contribute on GitHub, submit that sample that you might want to show off, and of course, provide feedback. We want to know what's working, what's not working, what would you like to see more of. The only thing is we ask you to keep it positive so that we can ensure it's a safe and inclusive opportunity for everyone in the community. Now, what are some of those initiatives and areas in which you can get involved? Well, we've got a number of videos within our community, developer and community driven. We've got a number of open source projects, things like CLI for Microsoft 365, PnP PowerShell, which you'll see talked about today. We've got a whole lot of galleries, a plethora even, a cornucopia, a number of them. It means a lot, doesn't it? Okay, but you don't need to remember all of these links. You only need to remember one little link for you to be able to take advantage of all this goodness, and that is aka.ms/m365/community. And if you like calls like this, well, guess what? We have got plenty of calls for you. The first one is Microsoft 365 platform call, and this happens weekly on Tuesdays. What's special about this call is it's only Microsoft presenters. So that means you're going to hear from those program managers, product managers about the programs and products that they're working on and the features and initiatives and where they would like feedback and want to show you the coolest new things. So definitely get that on your calendar. The next couple of weeks are going to be just coffee and tea conversations, so you don't have to come in with anything expected to learn. Just come in ready to talk and have some conversations. It's a great opportunity. Then we've got our Microsoft Identity Platform, Office add-ins, the Power Platform monthly call, which just happened yesterday, our M365 or Microsoft 365 and Power Platform development call, which you're on now. And then we've got our Viva Connections and SharePoint Framework call next week, that official last call of the year. So tons of opportunities for you to get involved and join these calls. Get them all on your calendar. That's right, that arrow right there. One thing, aka.ms/m365/calls will get you all the recurrent invites that you need. And talking about that platform call, next week, we're going to see just the coffee and tea opportunity. So come in, we'll have some opportunities. We're going to use some new Q&A tools to allow you to ask questions and vote the questions up that you want. It's a great conversation opportunity. We had a really great time this week. Everybody got involved and was able to collaborate together. ak.ms/m365-dev-call. Now, you're going to see all kinds of opportunities to get involved, and you're going to wonder, how do I do that? Some of these areas are a little confusing. Well, Sharing is Caring is here to provide you that hands-on guidance. What is hands-on guidance? It means that we are going to get into a call with you and walk you through how to do things like submit your first pull request. GitHub can be frustrating and scary. Use terms like fork and blame and raw. What does all that mean? Well, we're going to explain it to you. Not only are we going to explain it, we're going to show you, and we're going to work along with you to do things like your first pull request, how you can get more involved, how you can present better on these calls, how you can submit to the sample repository. We are absolutely here to help you and work alongside with you, and not just tell you how to do it, but do it with you. And these are safe space. They absolutely are not recorded, so you do not have to feel fearful of asking a question that maybe you think everyone should already know. We're going to work right alongside you to make sure that you feel confident and equipped to do all these things. So as you can see, everybody's celebrating at the bottom. So we're going to celebrate together as well. Somebody's pulling our leg right now. All right. You can get access to the upcoming sessions at ak.ms/sharingiscaring. And of course, it's been a big buzz lately, our recognition program. This is a program that we started in connection with Credly, and it is super, super exciting. What it provides is the opportunity for you to be officially recognized for the amazing work that you are doing. What does that mean? It means that you're going to get badges. These are the same badges that you get when you get Microsoft certified. So these community recognition badges are going to sit right alongside the badges that you earned when you got certified. It's going to show that you're making a difference in the community in an official and accredited way. You can share them on LinkedIn, associate them to your LinkedIn profile, share them on Twitter, print them out, send them to the family on your cards. It's a great way to say, hey, I'm doing stuff. And it's a great way to show the community as well as your bosses and your clients that you're making a difference. And we know that makes a difference for you in our industry. So we want to officially welcome you and recognize you. And there's no cost at all. We just need you to opt in at ak.ms/m365/recognition. And we're making a whole bunch of new changes, working with some of the program leaders and initiative leaders in our community yesterday, and you're going to see some new badges coming out in just the next few days. So get excited for that. I'll even plug that. PowerShell, did I say PowerShell? A new PowerShell badge? Yes, coming soon. And of course, you still have a few days left for the season of Getting. So definitely contribute anything through GitHub over the next few days, whether it be a documentation update, and you can get this one-time season of Getting badge that's only available in November and December. So exciting stuff. Now, let's talk about some project-specific updates, and we're going to start with PnP .NET libraries and Bert.
Thank you, David. For the PnP.NET side, we have our two libraries, the framework one and the core SDK, which is the newer one. What happened there? Framework side, Paul previously did work on the documentation framework, so starting documentation side for framework. We're still looking into folks wanting to help there, write articles around how to use PnP framework. So if you want to do that, great. On the core SDK side, a couple of small things happened. There was a bug fix from Schumann around the Pages API, and then I did some work on enabling you to get a file by a link. So if you have a sharing link or whatever link pointing to a file in SharePoint, throw it in, you get the file reference back, so you can start working with the file really easily. No matter which site collection doesn't really matter, you just get the file. So that's really good. One thing to call out is our usage. We did some work on kind of updating our usage dashboard, I would say, and just to call out for the .NET libraries, we have 35 billion requests a month, which is a lot, really a lot. And if we look at historically, we tracked this from 2016, just for the .NET side, we crossed 1 trillion requests. So imagine like 1 trillion requests issued by PnP components from 2016 on until now. So that's just a massive amount of requests. And usage keeps on growing, as you see in the graphs. So, this means people are using it. And the same applies to PowerShell as well, I think. Gautam, let's move to PowerShell.
Thanks, Bert. I don't have the updated numbers for the PowerShell request, but we also did cross 140 million command executions per day. So that translates to around 4 or 5 billion requests a month. About PnP PowerShell. PnP PowerShell, it's a PowerShell module that you can use to connect to various Microsoft 365 services like SharePoint, Planner, Teams, Azure AD, and lots more. What's new? We added .NET 6.0 support, so it is now available in the nightly builds. Would absolutely love to have your feedback around that. Do let us know if you find any issues as well. We'd like to have that fixed before we make a more general release for that. What is improved here is in the PnP field commandlet. We now support showing of the field inside a property pane. So sometimes there is in the SharePoint list we have the property pane when you click on a list item, and now using this command you are able to ensure that that particular field is visible in that property pane. Besides that, we improved the PnP tenant command by adding a bunch of properties, and also improved the PnP data rows to site template commandlet, so that supports overwriting of the existing list items when you use the PnP provisioning template here. So what next? We'd absolutely love to hear from you. So feel free to chime in on GitHub discussion and feedback, and also do raise the issues if you face any of them. So yeah, thanks. Over to you. Oh yeah, before I go hand it over to David, we are handing out the Credly badges. So yeah, absolutely keep an eye out for them as well. So thank you, David. Over to you.
Awesome. Woo! The crowd goes wild. Very excited for those badges. I know everybody is. So excellent. Thank you, Gautam. Okay, let's move on to Yo Teams. And I believe Rick is going to walk us through this.
Yeah, Stefan is not feeling well. So what's new? We added support for the manifest versions 1.14, 1.15. Was a little bit harder than normal because they had to figure out what they were doing actually. So it was a different one. We also did some minor fixes as well, and we're preparing a new release. I still have to merge that pull request from Stefan, that's true. I see that the package downloads are a little bit down, but that's normal. It's the end of the year. I think people are getting ready for the holiday season. So from my side, I want to wish everybody happy holidays as well. And we're already ready to start producing our small Yo Teams tutorial, like really small videos to get you started, because we noticed that while we're in it and using it a lot, it might be a little bit complex to get started for people. So we really need to start on those little small teams. Yo Teams videos. So, and for the rest, if you want to help out or fix some bugs or help Stefan, he's starting the Visual Studio Code extension. If you want to help him out, then just visit our GitHub page and just apply for that you wanted to help out. Back to you, David.
Awesome. Thanks, Rick. That's exciting. Visual Studio Code extension. Woo! Can't wait to see that. Awesome. All right. Next up is Microsoft Teams Toolkit, and Vesa is going to cover this.
Yep, so the latest version on Microsoft Teams Toolkit was released yesterday, so 21st of December, as a holiday gift for those who celebrate this time of the year. And there are a new dashboard tab template. So basically you can see the picture on the right, which is the preview on the template. So you can actually start by creating or getting a starting point, which is looking like that. Also, there's a step-by-step guidance in the Visual Studio Code to assist you to create the Microsoft 365 testing developer tenant. The latest version also scaffolds SharePoint Framework 1.16 versions of the SharePoint Framework solutions. On the Visual Studio side, the latest version is still 17.4, and that's the one which was released in the early November. A lot of stuff in the pipeline and a lot of improvements and continuously new versions coming out in the new year as well. But that's pretty much in here. If you find anything, please report them in the GitHub issue list. Thank you for that.
Awesome. Thanks, Vesa. All right, moving forward to Microsoft Graph Toolkit, or MGT as we all know it. Seb is out today, but there's always opportunities to interact with MGT. It is the way for you to utilize Microsoft Graph in the simplistic manner that we all like to just plug in things. There's all kinds of samples to utilize. MGT can be used inside of existing web parts that you can use from the community as well. Things like the React content query web part. You can insert MGT components in there. Again, if you're looking to get involved with Graph, it is one of the easiest ways to start implementing some of those Graph components for you that you don't need to write yourself. So definitely check it out. There's always help wanted. There's good first issues. You can see all that at aka.ms/MGT and aka.ms/MGT/issues. All right. How about some independent publisher connectors?
Happy holidays, everyone. And what an exciting holiday treat of an announcement that we have here. In case you have not heard, the connectors ecosystem has surpassed a total of 900 connectors. Deployment freezes be damned, because we are still pushing ahead. We are on the road to 1,000. But back to our regular content, we are actually a bit past 900. I made this slide yesterday morning just for it to be made incorrect and out of date by the evening time, because our fantastic team was able to publish even more. We have added 8 new connectors from independent publishers since 2 weeks ago. Despite the holidays, while other teams and products might have a lull, our publishers, our community, and our team does not slow down. With all of these amazing contributions, we are now at a total of 220 IP connectors. I would like to give a shout out to 2 new contributors, Iona and Amit. Across the entire connector ecosystem, we are now at 912 total connectors, including Power Automate, Power Apps, and Azure Logic Apps, 18 more than our last session 2 weeks ago. This is the second highest growth quarter in the history of connectors since all the way back to 2016. With 80 connectors certified since October, 47 of which are from independent publishers like yourselves. I would also like to give a huge shout out to the MVP of MVPs, Troy Taylor, who has submitted his 100th connector into our ecosystem. So if you see him, if you catch him on Twitter, give him a shout out for this huge milestone. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. If you think I can help to start your connector building experience, check out our repo with connector requests. Links will be in the chat. Thank you, everyone, and happy holidays. Handing it back over to you, David.
Awesome and fantastic work, everyone. That's applause worthy, right? I think excellent. Over 900. Excellent. All right, let's talk about some more opportunities for you to get involved. Script samples, one of my favorite with Paul Bullock.
Thank you, David. So script samples is a repository where you can share your PowerShell scripts or Bash scripts with the community. So we cover like tooling for things like the Microsoft Graph, PnP PowerShell, CLI for Microsoft 365. And to be fair, it's unlimited. I can expand the site to include more types of tooling within this if you have a sample you want to share and don't know where it fits. We have a new sample. So this is from Casper Larsen. So this is the extraction of configuration of a PnP search results web part, and then being able to apply it to other site collections, which is super, super awesome. Also to remember, we do have a badge that's going out. So remember to opt into the program in order to receive that. You get this nice, lovely badge, and we are working on the 2023 ones at the moment. If you want to contribute to script samples, by all means, either put an issue in the issues list on the GitHub repo or reach out to me via Twitter. The same handle is on LinkedIn as well, if you prefer that social media platform. So by all means, but I also want to wish you all a happy holidays from me, and just to say thank you for everything you've done for the community. You're absolutely awesome. Back over to you, David.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. I love the one centralized location for all scripts for helping your day-to-day life. So I love that little tagline. Just need one that forces my kids to clean the room and we'll be in business. So good job. Thanks, everybody. All right. How about some Microsoft Teams samples? No new samples to show up, but we did want to show off the sample app of the week. This is a meeting tab that records everyone's names so that you can pronounce them correctly. I know that it's something that I think is really, really cool because I usually butcher names horribly. So it's very nice to help me not sound like a moron, which is quite often. But excellent. Check it out. You can see more at aka.ms/m365/samples. And of course, there's always opportunities for you to contribute. And we'll see a little more from Markus later today. And next up, Power Platform samples with April Dunnam.
Oh, thanks, David. So we have a few new samples in the Power Platform repo here. So one is an injured body part selection gallery app. This is a pretty interesting use case for a Canvas app here, showing how you can have kind of selectable objects with inside an image, just like different types of the body, and see what they are and what they do. Another one that we have is the Microsoft Graph Toolkit People Picker. So how to use that information to create a custom people picker there. And then a couple of Power Automate samples as well. One to copy SharePoint pages between sites, and another to set Dataverse lookups. So a good variety of samples that we have there in the repo. Definitely encourage you to submit your samples there to aka.ms/Power Platform-samples. And also we have a Power Platform Sharing is Caring session coming up. So if you want to get started learning how to submit your samples there, that's coming up January 10th. Don't know if you have anything else you want to say about that coming up there, David.
Nope. Yeah, it's get signed up. Thank you, April. Absolutely. We're going to have a fantastic session there just after the new year. I'm kind of curious with that injured body part selection if we're going to see the use case of that go up as people try to start taking down those lights and stuff like that over the holidays.
Maybe
it
come in handy.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. See, we're here for everybody. All right. It is Picture time. So Vesa is going to take over the screen and record everyone. Feel free to share your camera if you'd like to show the community how amazing you are.
Yes, indeed. 1 second. Where did you go again? You are in here, and let me put you in this screen so we will see who's on the screen. You can see a few Christmas people in the room. That's good. We still have a few seats in the room. I'm not recording yet. Let's wait for a few more people because we do have quite a lot of people in this call, which is really, really cool. I guess we are starting to be maxed out, so I will put the recording on. And let's do some hand waving. We'll grab a GIF animation out of this again. So thank you, everybody, for joining once more and more time. Thank you for being with us in 2022, and we are looking forward to having you with us in 2023 as well. Thanks, everybody. Awesome to see you in these calls. Thank you, everybody. Keep the feedback coming. Cheers. Let's get back to you, David.
Awesome. Thanks, Vesa. And looking great, everybody. Great to see everybody here. All right. Let me share up my screen again, get this ready. And Drum roll. We got our amazing presenters today. We're going to start out with Markus, and Markus is going to show us how to extend Teams apps to M365, Outlook, and Office. Markus, take it away.
I will do.
All right, looks great.
Okay. Just want to give a quick intro on how to extend Teams apps to Microsoft 365 across apps. So to reuse them in Outlook and Office. I'm reusing a sample which the diehard audience of this kind of calls might remember from a different technical scenario, but come to that in a minute. First, I would like to quickly introduce myself for those who still don't know me. My name is Markus Möller. I'm working as a Microsoft 365 developer expert for Avanade in Germany. I'm a Microsoft MVP since it's a bit more than 12 months. If you want to get in contact with me, try to reach out. I'm still on Twitter, or you can use my blog and contact me there over my articles and comment if you like. As you might know from my different presentations, I already like to start directly with the demo. So what I would like to show today is how to save full mails. So not only the attachments or so, but the full mails to either Teams or OneDrive, and even mark them as saved so that you do not do it twice or different times. This scenario is taken from an older idea. I think it was 2.5 years, 3 years back, when it was an option to use Outlook add-ins in SharePoint Framework, which was a bit of dead birth, I think. But I try to reuse this now in this sample. And why I try to use this, I will come to later, because I see something at the horizon there as well. Okay, let's start with the first demo. What we need is a Teams personal app. We have several ones here, and what we are talking about is the mail storage app. The mail storage app will show us the most recent, very simple, the most recent mails we have in Outlook. And we can pick one, and we can press save. And then when we open up is our current available Microsoft Teams. We can go to one, browse through that, go into the general folder, go into a subfolder we prepared here, and save the mail. Yeah, this is still demo here. So this was, I think I have to get rid of it, but nevertheless, I can show you directly that I'm getting the ID of the given mail. Let's check the result. If you remember, we were in the, I think it was the retail team, we were in the general tab, we were in the files folder, in the PnP demo call. And there we have a mail from a few seconds ago. We can open that up. And there is our mail. And it's stored or archived there as well. Yeah. So this is a simple Microsoft Teams application, but it is not really related to Teams, yeah, because mail is involved. You must not store it in Teams. You can also store it in OneDrive or SharePoint or whatever you can think about. So let's see how we can act with the exact same app from a different perspective. Let's jump to Outlook, therefore. In Outlook, we also have an app button. We have the mail storage app here. It's already installed. It's already there. And what we can do now is what you can see here at the right side. Yeah. Is a little storage icon. So I already recognize, hey, this mail is already stored somewhere. When I try it again, I get more deeper information about that. I already stored it somewhere in my system. Now I will cancel it here because I only want to do it twice. And therefore, we can directly jump to the third option we have to use or to reuse the same app once again. We can go to office.com, which will become Microsoft 365 apps in the beginning. And here we have also some apps. And here we have some standard apps, but also our mail storage app. Same rendering once again. Now we can start with a big mail, for instance, and save that one. And what's different here now is now I'm detecting that I'm not in Teams anymore. Now I'm in Office. In Outlook, it was the same. This is my scenario that I'm using not Teams as storage location anymore if I'm outside Teams. So here, now I'm using OneDrive. You can detect this from my very fantastic folder names. Go to the PnP call demo prepared here for us. Save the mail once again. Shouldn't take much time. Let's check it. And go to our OneDrive. And there we are. And here, this takes a bit of time of loading, but this is on purpose. You might have seen the file size in the OneDrive folder. There we have a very big mail. This is also for demo purposes, because it's essential when you store files, you have to distinguish between small files smaller than 4 megabytes and big files bigger than 4 megabytes. And here, this was I think was my biggest shot last year out in the wildlife. Nevertheless, that was my demo. Let's talk a bit about the backgrounds. What do we need to get this up and running? It's quite simple. We need a Teams static personal tab application. You have seen that. It's essential that you use the Teams manifest to wrap around the app with version 1.13 or above. We also need the Teams JS SDK 2.0 or above. For instance, this we can also use to detect where are we. Yeah, but we'll see this in a couple of minutes. And to have that all up and running, for instance, when I'm working with the Yeoman generator for Teams, here you need the version 4, at least because this supports all the things above. So the manifest 1.13, I think, was even a version earlier, but the Teams JS SDK 2.0 is only available since version 4. The scenario was quite simple, but there's much more, and you also are not really bound to the Yeoman generator for Teams or Teams native apps, how I call it in general. So here is only a very small scenario that I'm showing. I'm showing a personal app realized with Teams app or in Yeoman generator, or could also have used the Teams Toolkit also. Yeah? And this is what I'm reusing inside Teams, Outlook, or Office. The same would be achievable with SharePoint Framework, for instance. Yeah, there's only one downside. I don't like too much SharePoint Framework here in this case, because I might deal with really big file sizes, and then I would have a client-server ping-pong with SharePoint Framework, while in a Teams application, I have my backend, which does all things for me. What I did not show here, but what is also available, are so-called search-based messaging extensions. They can be realized in Teams since, I don't know, a couple of years, and since recently also in Outlook. So we can pick cards from your search results and put them directly into an Outlook Compose things. I'm currently writing or working on a sample using that. You can also realize with SharePoint Framework and Teams in parallel. In Teams is the action-based variant of messaging extensions. This is a bit more ritual, and I'm really, really praying for this to come to Outlook as well. I already covered what do we need for the manifest. Yeah, quite easy. We need the version 1.13, and that's all. Static tab and the scope personal. Nothing else is needed. The second thing is what we can do, and what I did, you remember that I was storing either to Teams or to OneDrive, is you can detect in your app which kind of host, which kind of Microsoft 365 product I'm running in. Yeah? So I might either run in Teams, or what I'm doing here is if I'm not in Teams, in Outlook or in a default way, then I use a different component. Then I use here my OneDrive component, while I was using, here's my OneDrive component. In Teams, I would use the Teams component. Yeah, and just to add this, it's not in the code side here, but the third option we have, if you want to detect that specifically, is also Office as the third pillar in the scenario. What I was also using the sample for is to illustrate how to use single sign-on, because of course, doing some graph calls in the backend, they will need single sign-on for this. And why I'm doing this in this way, I'm showing here. So I try to do as much as I can on the server side only. So the only thing what I need to do really on client side is get my initial bootstrap or ID token, which represents the user. It's already authenticated inside Teams or Office or Outlook. And then I directly call my backend operation. And the backend operation does all the additional things for me. I have to exchange the token to an access token. Therefore, I might need a secret for my app registration, all the things only available on backend side. I do not return the token to client side. I directly call my third-party API, in this case, my graph things. And what I finally only do, and what only reaches the client once again, is my result, nothing else. So question, would I do that on client side as well? No, I wouldn't do it if I can prevent. And I've seen samples also on Microsoft side, unfortunately, who are doing that, who are sharing the access token on client side. And so I do not appreciate that. I mentioned this in my demos by showing you different, my small digest mail versus the big picture mail. So we have to distinct, or we can distinct in the code if we are using, if we have a bigger MIME content length, so bigger than 4 megabyte, then we need a resumable upload session. If not, we can simply upload it. Of course, you can do the resumable upload session, which I'm showing on the bottom here. So I first create a session, and then I can push my slices. Yeah, the first 320 kilobytes and so on and so forth. I could do that as well for smaller mails. Then I would save a lot of code. Yeah, but I wouldn't. I would try to simple wherever I can. So this is why I'm distincting between smaller and bigger file sizes here. And the last thing is, you might have seen that I'm detecting that I already stored a mail, yeah, so that I do not do it twice, or that I can prevent this potentially. How do I achieve that? Yeah, of course, I could have a database or SharePoint list in the background and write down every mail I already stored, yeah, but it would make sense. The easiest thing to achieve this are Microsoft Graph open extensions. With Microsoft Graph open extensions, I can simply adjust any kind of simple metadata of my choice to Microsoft Graph objects, such as my mails. So I could even write a shoe size of the author of a mail to a mail if I would want to. That's quite easy. Simply, yeah, you have to have a name, a unique name, and write this as an extension, a property. There's an alternative. This is the schema extensions. This is a bit more robust. And you can also query for mails then. In this case, you cannot. So I cannot retrieve all my mails of my inbox that are already saved. That's not possible. I can only get an additional information. If I have a mail, I can ask, hey, do I also have an extension or not? Yeah. But this is how I was getting this up and running, that I was already remembering, hey, this mail got stored somewhere else already. That's all from my side. As always, some resources about the shown content. So I have a blog post about that. The code is already shared as a PnP sample. There's some Microsoft documentation around this M365 apps. And I also wrote an article on the PnP blog about the different scenarios. You remember the table, for instance, I was showing. This is what a bit more illustrating. And just as an outlook for the early 2023, I will come up with another sample who will show all the missing things. We'll show not only how to realize it in Teams, but also the same in SharePoint Framework. Yeah, we will also realize such the search-based messaging connector. And this is what I'm currently working on. And stay tuned for this, and see you in one of the next calls, maybe, for that to demo.
Awesome, Markus. Really good job. I mean, always you do amazing work, but really love how you showed the scenarios and you well documented and identified the what and the why and the where you're doing it, the code. Really great job. Super stuff. Can't wait to see your next sample as well. So thank you for sharing that and putting it into the repository. Everybody, you can get that. The links are in the chat as well. So great job, Markus. Thank you. You're rocking it.
Thanks for listening to all. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Now let's move into our next trifecta of presenters, April, Luise, and Rudolf, or is it Robin or Rudolf? I'm not sure. But they are going to show us about Power Apps Component Library material design, and we'll kick it off with April, who is leading the team in this initiative. So April, if you'd like to take it on over.
Yeah, thank you, David. So I just want to take a few minutes here, not too long, to go over a little bit of the background and bigger picture before Luise and Robin go into the demo. So what we're demoing today is really part of a bigger initiative to offer some prescriptive guidance around user interface principles for Power Apps. So we have white papers and Learn documentation out there related to improving the performance of Power Apps, which is another big topic, but we don't really have the same for UI. And from the UI side, there's all kinds of material already out there that talks about UI and how it relates to application development, but nothing really specific to how you can apply these concepts, which is exactly what the Power Apps Design Toolkit that you're seeing here is designed to try to solve. So the overall initiative or goal with this initiative is to provide a place where you can go to get information about user interface principles and how you can apply these principles to build accessible and consistent Power Apps. So one of the key elements of UI design, as we mentioned, is consistency. So as you can see, we have a screen here where we can learn a little bit more about consistency and what it means and some of the implications of that. One of the ways that we really give this consistency inside of our Power Apps is by leveraging components. So the process to build components that match a particular theme or design standard can be a bit cumbersome. So we thought that one of the good ways to kind of have a lot of impact here with this design toolkit initiative would be to offer a series of component library kits which follow different UI styles. So our goal with this is not only to provide some additional documentation and guidance around user interface design, but also to give you a place where you can see the art of the possible for UI design of Power Apps and take it a step further by offering you those component libraries that you can plug and play into your Power Apps to improve your design. So what we decided to start with this is a design toolkit related to the material design standards. And that's exactly what Luise and Robin will be demoing for you today. So I'll turn it over to them to show a quick demo of how this works.
Okay, so this is material design for Power Apps, a small Christmas gift for those who are celebrating from Robin, aka Rudolf and me. Very shortly about me. So hi for everyone who does not know me. I'm Luise. I'm an independent Power Platform consultant based in Germany. I'm an MVP in M365 development and business application. I love stickers and coffee and the number 42. And you can find me on Twitter at Luise Freese. And with me today is Robin. Robin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I am a low-code enabler or advocate at EnBW, and I speak German, English, and as you will see in a second, my third language is SVG, and you'll find me on Twitter under power_R2.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So both Robin and I were super passionate about good design, and we found material design, which you will just like show off in a few minutes. But the very ugly truth of Power Apps is that. So when I look at Power Apps that my customers build before I consult them, they look like that. And that is just like, it feels a little bit unelegant, not to say ugly. So maybe you agree here with me that that is not what we would like to see in Power Apps, but unfortunately that is the ugly truth. So options for makers are, first, the bad option is just like, yeah, we would just like live with that look and feel and with those default styles of the controls. And whenever we need to have something that is more complex, then we would just like try to copy paste that from a previous app, or maybe just like a colleague can share something with us and we feel like this is really bad and it does not really work very well. Second option that a maker has is the ugly one. We could just like literally change every single property of every single control, which is just like super painful. And then we would just like have some reference control, so something that we styled in a nice way, maybe on a hidden screen, and then copy paste the hell out of that so that we can just like have a nicer look and feel in our apps. But maybe you guessed it, that is painful as well, because I promise you, you forget one property and then you just like copy paste your bugs around your apps, or it does not really look nice in the first place as well. And as a result, we get just like really an outdated and inconsistent design. And some of these out-of-the-box controls really lack a functionality and pleasantful appearance, but also functionality. So there is just like stuff that does not really work out of the box. And this also means that makers who are supposed to come into place just like to solve their business needs in a faster, more cost-efficient way will then need to reinvent the wheel over and over and over again, which is not the purpose of bringing in low code in the first place. So that does not make any sense. And then we see just like a lot of differences across apps, just like maybe Robin works on something in his style and I work on something in my style, and maybe skill level vary as well. And then we end up with just like apps where there is no consistent level of design or intuitivity to use them. So we needed to have just like a better option. And then there is, of course, a good option for a maker, and that would be using a component library and a template app so that I really get a consistent look and feel in my apps. So let's imagine, and I hope you still have that usual Power App picture in mind. What if our apps look a little bit more like that? What if we really had just like this super sleek looking text input boxes? What if we had just like beautifully designed screens? And what if we provided guidance on how to achieve that, not by letting makers now rebuild all of that, but just consume those components? That would be really nice, right? So we came across material design. Material design is the design system supported and maintained by Google. You may know of that. So if you have an Android phone or if you use any Google applications, the design system that is built on, that is called material design. And it is super widely adopted, so there is no design system in the world that has just like more apps running on that, not even Fluent UI by Microsoft. It is really, really great documented, and this is what I really love, because that means for me as a developer, it's just like super easy to then adopt this because it is documented. And what I love about it, it cares about accessibility first. And this is something that is really near and dear to my heart. So we wanted to make sure that everything that we build is accessible to everyone. Okay, so speaking about a component library. So maybe you're not familiar with that. So what is a component library? It is a centralized repository in an environment for components, which means it's a special kind of application that holds all my components, or the components that I want to have in that component library, because of course you can have several component libraries, and then these apps maintain a dependency to that component library that they use. And that means that makers get alerted when there is a new version or an update on a component available. And this means that we really have a nice purpose, because makers can now easily discover new components, and they always use the latest version of the component. And we have that famous single source of truth, which we always like to have, and that makes it also easier to maintain, because we have just like this one place where the components sit and live, where they will be developed, and we do not just like spread that across several apps. And then makers will just like consume those components in their applications and always use the latest version of them. So Robin and I have a little gift for you, and the gift is 16 components in a component library, a template app, proper documentation, around 5,000 SVGs. I think Robin will tell a little bit more why we need 5,000 SVGs. And the beautiful thing about that is the setup time for you as a maker is less than 5 minutes. So you import the component library, you start from the template app. So you need to change 1 to 10 values depending on how much you want to customize that, but at least change 1 color value so that you can match your color scheme, and then you're just like really ready to go. And if you're now just like excited and want to see that in action, this is your turn, Robin.
Yes, I will take over in a second. Let's share my screen. And this is just where Luise left off. We downloaded our component library solution, which also includes a demo app. And then we downloaded the template app, which is an MS app file. Opened that app. If you don't know how to do that, it's also in the documentation. Just take a quick look. And then we imported the component library components into this app. We have to do this manually afterwards to link it to your component library so you can also update it later. And then we are here with a not completely empty app, but this will be the template app you should start every project from. And now we're gonna start building really quickly. Get an app bar top. These are our library components. This is the top app bar you probably saw in Luise's slides already. And then we want to build a responsive app. So this is not from our library, but no, I want to add here containers. Please use containers, and especially the horizontal and vertical ones if you want to build responsive apps. So let's get in a horizontal container right here, and don't use these pixel values, but use relative values like parent.width and parent.height minus self.y to fill out the rest of the screen. That was wrong. So now we filled out the rest of the screen. Now let's get a menu going right here, and the menu is called a navigation drawer, but it's the side menu, you know, from probably many different apps. And then we want to compare the standard controls to the component library controls. So let's bring in more containers, container number 1 and container number 2. So the plan is on the left side, go the standard components, on the right side, our library components. So let's bring in a button, a text input, and a slider, and just compare them. Let's center it a little bit. You see how easy this stuff is when using containers. And on the right side, again, we want a button, then our library text input, and our slider. And again, we will center those to take a quick look. And the first thing you probably noticed, we have no Microsoft blue right here, no Microsoft light blue, but we have this beautiful purple. And how does that work? Let's take a few seconds to appreciate what Sancho Harker has done for us all. He started 2 or 3 years ago introducing the template system, showed us how to set up templates and get these colors from the beginning and have variables instead of absolute values, and have one dedicated place like the onStart property where we can change these values. And that's what I did just right here. Everything that is in there we learned from Sancho's templates, but we wanted to make it a little bit easier. Like Luise said, we only wanted to provide, I think it's 12 values now you can change. Let's look at the onStart property. And these are the values we have to alter. And I want the dark blue my company uses as a primary color. I want a different font, but I don't have the actual font right here. But let's take one that is really close, little bigger font size, and we have more of those bubble buttons with a larger border radius. So let's change that, run our onStart again, and as you can see, everything changed right here. This template works with the standard Power Apps controls and it works with our component library controls. So it's really easy to mix and match. You don't have to only take our controls because we couldn't provide any controls, and some controls are so special, like a combo box. It's not really easy to rebuild all the functionality in a component library. So mix and match, take the best out of the standard controls and mix it with our component library controls to achieve great results. We have this one place like the onStar property to set everything up, and have really easy. It's really easy to change it later on if you took the wrong color or want to apply theming for another company or something. And let's take a closer look at the first component library component that we provided. And this is the button, like I call them, one button to rule them all. Because our philosophy around all these controls are you have some variety and some different features you can use, but it should be really easy to use them and really fast to set everything up. So for example, if I want to make this button into an outline button, the Fluent UI controls tried to do this, but didn't really succeed. Here you can do it just one click and you get an outline button. An outline button with box shadow doesn't look too good, so switch that off. And if we want to include another SVG icon, topic I really care about, there is this SVG icon property where you can basically put all the SVG code in you want. All the icons you can find on the internet will probably match in there, and the colors are already handled for you. Like you see, there's no fill property, there's no color specified in here. The heart used to be white when it was a filled button. Now it's blue. When I change back to purple as primary color, it's purple. But Luise already told us we have also 5,000 material design icons included right here, and it's in a data source, was imported as an Excel table, so we can look up against this data source. It's called material design icons, and if we want to include a star right now, then we type in star and select the SVG path. And then we have a star in here. If we want a cooler star, then we choose the Death Star, and this may be my favorite icon. The Death Star variant looks really cool. And again, as I said, going to a filled button from an outline button, the SVG icon also changes the color. Because you obviously don't know what all these things are called, we change to the icons tab, and this is also in the template, not as a screen to use, but as a reference screen to just go through this stuff. So if you look for a star, then you will find the Death Star right here and some variants. So you can see how it looks in primary or secondary color. And there's also another reference screen. Sancho does this in his templates as well. Some demo color themes. And let's take a green color right now with rectangles, no rounded edges. Let's look again at our first page, and you saw everything changed just with one click. Just redefine these 12 properties on runtime. You can also use this. We've also a dark theme in here you can check out. So you could change on runtime to a dark theme or to a high contrast theme. So many possibilities to set this up. That's it from the template app. So let's click really quickly through this design demo app to wrap things up. Again, just giving you, so you should use this app, open it in editor mode and see how we set everything up. So you can just copy this or get some ideas from here, probably to get creative and use the side menu like this probably. And just the different buttons, the input controls that are provided, like these two variants of the text input or the slider, a new checkbox that is customizable with SVG icons, a nicer toggle, and a generic input frame where this is just the normal control. And if we select Power BI, then we have an error property right here. So a central place where you can store an error property, also pretty nice. Different ways to interact with your user, just like a classic dialogue, a snack bar, what it's called in material design, a banner you probably already know, or a side sheet you also know from other design frameworks. Have some mobile dedicated components like this time picker, which uses some SVG. Was really fun to build this thing and really challenging. And another menu variant, and again the icons theme, icons screen, and the themes screen. So that's it from the demo. I hope you like it, and I really hope you use this to quickly build really beautiful and performant apps. So giving it back to David, I think. Thanks for listening to us.
Absolutely, Robin, April, Luise, thank you. This was wait for it, amazing, just really fantastic stuff, everybody. I know the community is just so excited for everything, and to see where you can go with this, really fantastic job. I think it just comes with its own little sound effect, needs to have its own little magic wand sound effect. So really fantastic job, excellent work. And everyone, this is an opportunity for you to get involved too. So really excited there for all the opportunities that are extended to all of us. So let's work together. All right, let's wrap up the call today. I think we definitely want to give a round of applause and some cheers to our amazing presenters, Markus, April, Luise, and Rudolph/Robin. Got his little red nose there on the demo slide. Thank you, Vesa. A lot of fun. Excellent. All right. Where can you watch the replay of this? Because we know everybody's going to want to take another look at all those amazing components. Well, you're going to be able to watch it in 24 hours on the Microsoft Community YouTube channel. You can subscribe today at aka.ms/m365/videos. You will not be able to download the video in the chat, so please don't try. It's only available for those that are in Microsoft. It'll just lead to tears, but you can get happy tears if you go subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you'll get alerted as soon as it's available. So be on the lookout for that. You can also follow us on Twitter at Microsoft365Dev and at M365PnP. That will also let you know as soon as it is available. We will be posting on those social channels. The next M365 General Dev and Power Platform call, January 5th, when 2023. Wow, just around the corner. We got one more call left in 2022. VB Connection SharePoint Framework, December 29th, next week at this same bat time, same bat channel. So we hope to see you there. You can access invites as well as direct links for all the calls at aka.ms/m365/calls. Thank you, everyone. I hope if you're taking time off, you enjoy the rest of the year with your friends and family. You are amazing contributors. Please rest and relax. We appreciate all that you're doing and cannot thank you enough for being the amazing contributors you are. So thank you all. Have a great rest of your week.